Welcome to the breakdown where we break down all the messed up movies. Today on Screepy Week is Ultimate Revenge. So I had to pick something where revenge is the topic. That something we are watching today is Lady Vengeance, also known as Sympathy for Lady Vengeance. And yes, it's a part of the unofficial Vengeance trilogy, starting with Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, then Old Boy, and then Lady Vengeance. I'm not gonna bullshit y'all, I wanted a female lead. So instead, we're gonna do a trilogy out of order. Plus, they aren't narratively connected, so it's fine. Lady Vengeance is about a fine-ass, fresh-ass release from an all-girl prison. Apparently, she was imprisoned for 13 years after murdering a little boy. Well, turns out that somebody forced her to take the blame, and so our main character, Geum-ja, begins to unfold a very intricate planned attempt to serve a cold dish of revenge against the real murderer. You can find the entire movie for free on Tubi TV, so I would just give a more general outline of the movie. You gotta watch this yourself, really. If you want to see what happens, including all the messed up parts, stay tuned for the breakdown. Cue the Gohan! Outside of a female-only prison, Christian singers and their religious leaders sit and wait for an angel, a true angel that is a model for prisoners everywhere. As soon as others are released, they begin their sacred song and wait for their angel. This angel is Geum-ja, who walks upon her audience with a cold face. Firstly, let's talk about why Geum-ja went behind bars. 13 years ago, when she was 20 years old, Geum-ja apparently kidnapped and killed a little boy named Won-mo. Her young age, along with her naive appearance and beauty, made her a national sensation. They was even gonna make a movie about her. Well, I guess they did, right? This man, watching a report about Geum-ja's crime, sees something good and angelic behind Geum-ja's face and visits her to inspire a change in lifestyle. Apparently, his visit inspires Geum-ja to become a true angel, a very kind-hearted woman who is well known and appreciated by her fellow inmates and watchers outside of those walls. She becomes probably the greatest prisoner all over the country. After 13 years, she is released and presented with a sacred tofu meal. Once she eats it, it's like a promise to live white as snow and never to sin again. But she pushes the food out of the priest's hand and rejects it, telling him and his band of Santa singers to screw themselves. Geum-ja has been pretending to be angelic for 13 years. Now, I'm not saying she isn't a good person entirely, but overall, I think it's fair to say she's kinda nuts. I guess it would be good to call her an anti-hero. A lot of times throughout the film, she takes it upon herself to revisit all of her old prison peers. It makes you wonder if she only befriended them and helped them so that they would be indebted to her later. This old friend of hers reveals that Geum-ja has a plan that's already been enacted 13 years earlier. This plan is to capture the real murderer of the boy that Geum-ja went to jail for. She even has a dream about it, holding a dirty dog of a human and then blowing his brains out right over the pure white snow, and she smiles about it too. She still wishes to apologize to the parents of the boy who was murdered. Remember y'all, that boy's name is Won-mo. Her apology is cutting off her finger, like a Yakuza member who can't do shit right. But the parents didn't ask for that and just get her to help fast enough to have it put back on. She wasted all of her money on that operation too. She has to work at a bakery to get by, next to two creepy men. Geum-ja visits another fellow released prisoner, one that Geum-ja gave a whole kidney to after the woman was found to have some kind of kidney failure. She's like, then this bitch decides to give me a whole kidney. This movie is like a mix of Amelie and I Saw the Devil. Well, Geum-ja enlists her and her boyfriend's help in creating a special type of gun, the same one she used in her dream killing the dirty dog. The gun is a special type of North Korean spy weapon. It seems that the gun blueprint was hidden in a Buddhist book, so it seems likely she organized it herself. While working at the bakery, Geum-ja comes into contact with the detective, the one who looked over her case 13 years ago. Like most Asian detectives in films like this, he doesn't believe that Geum-ja murdered the boy because she didn't know the facts of the case that only the killer would know. This is them arguing about it 13 years ago, and Geum-ja had a weird insistence on saying she was the killer. On the way to some kind of weird reenactment of the murder, a man is above, egging her on with a baby in his grasp. During this reenactment, she utilizes the real killer's help to figure out how the murder actually went down. Like, the boy, Won-mo, was smothered with a brown pillow, something she wouldn't know if the real killer didn't point out his brown watch. A year before she went to prison, she was a wild 19-year-old who got pregnant. She stays with her old teacher, a man by the name of Mr. Bayek, played by the same man who played the villain in I Saw the Devil, and I know he's an old boy too. Mr. Bayek forces Geum-ja to go along with the kidnap for ransom. The person they both kidnapped was Won-mo. However, he was already killed even after the parents paid the ransom. Mr. Bayek forces Geum-ja to take the blame for the murder, or else her baby girl will be killed next. Also, Geum-ja told her co-worker this all after some sex. That's why you see him in the bedroom like this. A big reason she hangs around or even gives him any attention is because he is 20 years old, the same age she was when she went to jail, and also the same age the murdered boy, Won-mo, would be if he was alive. Mr. Bayek put Geum-ja's daughter up for adoption, and she found out some Australians adopted her and named her Jenny. Geum-ja literally catches a flight to Australia to meet her daughter, who is about 13 years old. They are pretty weird over there. I mean, what is this scene, y'all?
I am so jealous of you. You had such a beautiful daughter. She is now our life.
Keep in mind that Jenny only knows English. Well, actually, I don't know really. I think the actress is multilingual, only introspective in Geum-ja's mind. Her mother doesn't want her to come back to Seoul with her. Hope I said it right that time. But after some funny arguing, they so happen to go back there anyway.
And why not?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
안 돼. 안 돼.
Why?
No.
Yes. No. Come on. No. South Korea.
Right as she gets back, Geum-ja receives her special weapon, but it's only close range, so she gotta be so close to her target that she can see the white in their eyes. Before we continue with what happened after that, let's go back to Geum-ja's jail days. Geum-ja was like a good kingpin. She earned the title Witch after she secretly murdered this mean prison bully by poisoning her with bleach. She was still known as an angel too though. This means that Geum-ja has only murdered once so far, and it's not any little kids. Anyway, Geum-ja managed to track down Mr. Bayek, the man she is looking for. She also tracks down his current wife, a woman who hates her husband anyway because he is very abusive. They both plot to figure out how to take down Mr. Bayek, but somebody knows that something is being planned. The priest who visited Geum-ja is seen taking pictures of her and reports the images back to Mr. Bayek. Mr. Bayek is a school teacher, by the way, so that's why he's in this like classroom type of setting. Seeing his wife betray him and possibly plan his downfall hurts him. But man, F this preacher though, really. It's the last time we see of him anyway. Mr. Bayek gets the services of some thugs to take care of Geum-ja, while he waits for his wife to come cook for him, and then he will tie her up. Things are all going according to plan though for Geum-ja. While walking with her daughter, they get attacked and intercepted by those thugs. Geum-ja gets her shit kicked out by the men, like she really got beat up, but when he ain't looking, she pulls out her vengeance gun and blows his brain right all over the street. Then she walks towards the guy holding her daughter, cause remember, it's close range, and she blows his hand right off. Meanwhile, Mr. Bayek doesn't realize his plan has failed. He tied up his wife after she made him some food, but unknown to him, his wife tampered the food with some kind of sedative, and he passes right out. Geum-ja drags her daughter into Mr. Bayek's flat, examining the man who threatened her child and took away 13 years of her life. She frantically cuts his hair out, probably fighting the urge to end him right there, until she realizes that she's got more to her plan. She and the wife then transport the man to an abandoned school, probably the one where Won-mo went, and tie him up. He speaks pretty good English, and she uses him at gunpoint to translate an apology and explanation to her daughter. Overall, she believes she is too much of a sinner to take care of her angel daughter, so after she kills this man, she will send Jenny back to Australia. She now has her #1 enemy in her grasp though, and is itching to kill him. She intimidates him with the pistol like 40 times. His phone starts to ring though, and she pulls it out, but what she finds is horrifying. She not only finds Won-mo's marble, but she finds the trinkets of at least 3 to 4 other children. This means that Mr. Bayek killed more children while Geum-ja was in jail. She loses it, choking him with that remake Jennifer Hill's face, stomping him and shooting him in both of his feet. The fact that 4 kids died overall is very bothersome to Geum-ja, and she shows the detective who oversaw her case. Eventually, they look through his apartment, finding videotapes of each of the kidnapped and murdered children. I don't know for sure if the children were killed on the tapes, but they were crying alright. I'm guessing they were killed since the detective gets up after watching to go vomit in the toilet. The detective forgets the law after that. He helps Geum-ja arrange for the parents of each of the murdered children to be sent to the abandoned school where Mr. Bayek is tied up. They have a confused look at first until Geum-ja starts to play the videotapes of the children crying. I don't believe she played the actual murder of the children. She seems to cut the tapes off quickly. It's very disturbing to see children crying like that in this sort of position, in this problem. Where do you get the children to act for these type of scenes? Apparently, Mr. Bayek would kidnap the children, play a video of him about to kill them, then he would ask for ransom using the video audio to make the parents think that the child was still alive. He would get the ransom, quit his teaching job, leave, and then start over someplace else. Geum-ja gives the parents 2 options. Either they can let Mr. Bayek go to jail, she'll hand him over to the detective, or they can kill him, each taking turns to torture him to death. The parents debate about it, believing a trial is a waste of time and not real punishment for someone like him. They all decide that maybe they should take matters into their own hands, and just so there's no snitching after, which means someone telling the police about what they did, Geum-ja makes sure to let them know that snitches get stitches. All of their conversations about how they would go inside and torture him were broadcast through a speaker heard in the room Mr. Bayek was held inside, so he knows he's about to be ended. Each and every family tortures him, stabbing him all over with their wide variety of weapons. The old lady is the last one, and she kills Mr. Bayek with scissors to the neck. The families then work together to clean up the space and all take a group photo so that nobody can snitch on anybody else. Next, they dig a grave, but Geum-ja didn't really get any action. She shoots the man twice in the head as they finish his burial. No, that ain't a burial, that's just hiding his body. With her vengeance complete, she begins to both cry and smile viciously after 13 years of planning and waiting. Now, would y'all believe me if I said that I didn't know the film was fading to black and white until I got to this part? Like, there are 2 versions of the film, one with full color and one that fades to black and white. Even the film sets and the actors' clothes reflect this. I mean, Geum-ja wore a blue jacket earlier, but now she has a black leather jacket. When I initially watched the movie, it was on Tubi TV, so I don't know if the copy my video uses will be black and white. But if it isn't, then it would be around the time the parents came to the school where the movie started to change profoundly. After all that murder, the parents and families all sing happy birthday to each of their children resting in heaven. In the bathroom, Geum-ja cleans off her red eyeshadow and is done with the vengeance part of her life. Suddenly though, Geum-ja is interrupted by the spirit of one Mo. He's over here using lung killers. She goes to speak with him, but right before she can say anything, he gags her. He wasn't hearing no bullshit. He quickly transforms into the age he would have been had he not died and walks away. As Geum-ja leaves, she has a cake in her hand. Her co-worker follows behind, singing and asking if she is actually going to send her daughter back. She embraces with her daughter in the pure white snow and shows her a white tofu cake. Remember, the white tofu cake is a promise to live good like pure white and sinless. Jenny eats the cake and offers some to her mom too, but initially she thinks her time to be good is over. Well, she retracts that, and the movie ends as Geum-ja devours that white tofu cake. Well, there's nothing left to say but farewell Geum-ja and the vengeance that overwhelmed you. Now that we got through this film, let's talk about the most disturbing moment and most enjoyed moment, and that's spooky stuff. Alright, I'm not gonna front, this is all off script, but let's see if I can do good with it. Let's get right into it. The most disturbed moment is easily when the parents are shown those snuff videotapes. I don't think they were showing the murders themselves because Geum-ja cut them off real quick, but still, to be a parent and to see your child's last moments like that must be overly scarring. I can't even begin to imagine what kind of pain that must bring up. The most enjoyed moment, Geum-ja. I like Geum-ja. I like her character a lot. I think she was really funny, to be honest. Like, the movie was had a lot of comedy in it, so I think she was kind of funny, really. She had a lot of cool scenes, and sure, she might not be the hero or the real angel, but I think she's a pretty cool character. If she did a bit more, she'd be a platinum character. Let me tell you that. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you click that like button. I got 2 Korean films for you right here on the left. I Saw the Devil. It's basically kind of like this movie, except the main lead is a male, and I don't know, it's less, I don't know how to say it. It's more realistic, let's say that. Like, this movie was kind of dramatic in a way, like you were watching a special type of play, you know what I'm saying? The movie on the right is Bedeviled, aka Bok-nam Rises. Bok-nam and her attempts to get her child away from a very dangerous place. Y'all should watch either one of those movies in real life, or y'all can watch the videos that I got for you right here. But either way, I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, make sure you subscribe, click the like button. Hope I didn't say that twice. Thanks for watching. Spooky out.